there, everyone. It's Kelly from Kelly's Astrology here, and I'm back with the next installment for our Aspect of the Week video series. So we're looking at the first week of May, and technically this is not an aspect that I want to share with you this week, but rather an ingress, which is the movement of a planet into a new sign. So this week, there are a couple of planets changing signs, but the one I want to focus on is Venus. Venus is moving into Gemini on Saturday, May 8th, maybe May 9th, depending on whereabouts in the world you are. So Venus moving into Gemini is going to change the astrological influences, if you like, around all kinds of Venus things, which includes relationships, pleasure, enjoyment, how we're interacting with other people in general. And it's also going to shift the vibe around a couple of houses in your personal birth chart as well. So Venus will be moving into the sign of Gemini, and whatever house is associated with that sign in your personal birth chart is going to get kind of a sweet, maybe refresh or a redecoration over the next few weeks. And because Venus is always keeping an eye on and guiding the topics of your Taurus house and your Libra house, Venus changing signs is going to be helpful or create a different quality of energy in those areas of life as well. Based on the fact that Venus in Gemini can see or makes an aspect to the sign of Libra, but not to the sign of Taurus, you might find that Venus in Gemini, the transit starting Saturday, May 8th, is especially helpful for the Libra parts of our birth chart. So any planets that you have in Libra, but particularly the topics of the house associated with Libra in your chart. So there's a few technical pieces about why this change can be important and some of the ways to approach it based on your own chart. But let's talk a little bit about what Venus in Gemini is all about. One of the strongest threads that I get with Venus in Gemini is this quality of being curious about how to add more sweetness, pleasure, enjoyment, or connection into our lives. That curiosity is a gift of the sign of Gemini. And of course, Venus in Gemini suggests there's maybe a lighter, more playful quality to do with pleasure, enjoyment, and connection and relationships. So Venus in Gemini is a time to maybe not get so stuck in the past or maybe not be so serious about relationships or about enjoyment and pleasure, to have that kind of easy breezy, like, yeah, we can have a lovely moment or we can have a great conversation. And it hasn't needed to have, weeks or months of planning. It doesn't need to be all serious and pressured. We can just be kind of on the breeze, like going with the mood of the moment and enjoying whatever little pleasures or little luxuries it pops up for you. So Venus coming into Gemini is quite a change in the qualities that are influencing the planet Venus. In Taurus, the sign of Taurus is associated with the cool and dry quality, and that can create stability, but also kind of a slower, more contained vibe around relationships. In Gemini, the qualities of heat and moisture are going to influence Venus. And Venus is a planet who is naturally a wet planet anyway. So that connecting quality of Venus is a little bit more supported by the wet quality of the sign of Gemini. So looking for new connections, looking for a way to kind of enrich or nourish the connections that are important to us. And we often think with Venus about romantic relationships, but I think it's just as important to think about personal friendships, to think about family relationships, and even professional interactions as well. So Venus in Gemini kind of says, let's just enjoy being sweet and kind to each other without attaching a lot of meaning or expecting a lot in return. So Venus in Gemini can help bring some of that sweetness, that ease, or that pleasant quality back into our interactions. Now, one of the other big changes, remember we said Taurus was a cold sign and Gemini is a hot sign. So when we go from cold to hot, we go from slow to fast. And so Venus in Gemini is going to be more active, maybe more expressive, maybe a little bit more of an initiating quality to do with making sure our life has pleasure and enjoyment and fun in it, and to do with expressing our affection or our feelings for others, maybe being generous or just showing gratitude. Venus in Gemini can be quite, verbal or expressive in that regard. And of course, Venus in Gemini wants to send sweet messages of connection or positive regard, a nice little note or a cheeky text or a sweet text to let someone know that you're thinking about them or how you feel about them. So there's those kind of simple, easy, light, maybe fast, spur of the moment interactions are going to be encouraged while Venus is in Gemini. Another little technical piece to keep in mind is that the whole time Venus is in Gemini this year, middle of 2021, Mercury, the guiding or ruling planet of Gemini, is also going to be there. And so Venus in Gemini is like super Gemini this year because Mercury is also in Gemini, reinforcing that kind of dual, flexible, adaptable, but able to connect with anyone about anything kind of vibe. So Venus in Gemini is inherently flexible and adaptable. This is like going along with what's on offer unless you've got a better suggestion. Venus in Gemini is not shy about throwing a few ideas into the brainstorming pot. So we can definitely share our thoughts and ideas. Maybe they're well received, maybe they're just let to fall to the ground. But Venus in Gemini is more than willing to connect and share, just to, put things out there. Venus in Gemini is going to have that talkative voice, expressive quality, which is different from what Venus in Taurus had. So if there's something that's been on your mind that you want to say to another person, Venus coming into Gemini is going to be really helpful with that. So let me give you the full date. So we said this Venus in Gemini transit starts on May 8th, and let me let you know when it's going to finish until June 2nd. So May 8th until June 2nd. On June 2nd, Venus will move into Cancer, and that's a whole different energetic theme for another day. So here is your little aspect of the week heads up that by the weekend, the first, I guess it's technically the second weekend in May, Venus will have changed signs. And the mood or feeling about relating to others, connecting with others, and even about communicating in general is going to shift as well. If you've been feeling stuck in a rut, stuck in a routine that isn't kind of fun or exciting anymore, Venus in Gemini is going to help mix things up. Venus in Gemini is the queen of variety. And so she's not going to want too much repetition, which means she might not be as reliable or consistent as Venus in Taurus was. But Venus in Gemini is definitely going to add that kind of spicy change, doing things differently that can add a level of novelty and excitement that can really enhance that ability to laugh and enjoy some of those fun, good moments with others. So if you like this type of info, giving you a heads up about some of the astro going on this week, do pop over to my website and check out my monthly astrology guide membership. In that, I share videos each week for every aspect and every planet-changing signs that's going on each week and each month. So on my website, kellysastrology.com, you can find out more info about that or sign up if you're interested. That's it from me for now, team. I'll be back, of course, very soon with more videos for you. Until then, let me know how Venus in Gemini is shaking up your chart or bringing in that lighter, sweeter, curious vibe for you. I'd love to hear via the comments below. Wishing you all a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk soon.